Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video. In this video, I'll be showing to you how to handle state of our application, and also I'll be showing to you how to create new task and fetch new task onto our home screen. So without any further delay, if you haven't seen the previous videos, kindly watch them and let's get started. So if you have seen the previous videos, we have completed the setup of our easy API package, and in this video, I'll be showing to you how to create a notifier class and how to handle the state. Right, so first thing first, what you have to do, you have to simply move under your modules, and under modules, what we can do under our home, I'll be creating a new folder which will be known as Notifier. Right, under this Notifier, I'll be creating a new file known as task.notifier.dart. Right, so here I'll be creating a new file, and here I'll be calling this class to be task notifier. Right, we have to notify all the state from our task module. That's why we'll be calling it task notifier. And this thing will be extending a abstract class known as change notifier. The following change notifier will be giving us a function known as notify listeners, through which we can handle and manage all the changes that will be occurring under our entire application. Right, so here you can see I got my task notifier. Right, now what we have to do, as soon as we declare any of a notifier or provider under our application, we have to create, that is, we have to detach, that is, attach the following notifier to our main class. Right, so to do this, what I can do, under my core file that you have got under your UI kit, if you haven't bought it, you can get your UI kit. So here I'll be creating a new stateless widget known as core. Right, under this core, what we will do, will be simply returning a multi-provider. Right, so what multi-provider will do, it will be handling all the different type of providers that we'll be having under our application. Right, so here I can simply say we'll be having a multi-provider. Right, so under a multi-provider, we can have a list of all the providers. Right, so here we can simply declare a list of all the providers and the child. Under our case, the child will be Lava. Right, you can name your class any sort of thing, but for a general convention, I will be calling my core class to be core and its child to be Lava. Right, so here you can see I have declared my multi-provider. Now here what I'll do, I'll simply declare my change notifier provider. Right, this thing will be requiring a context. So let's provide here a context, and after this context, what we have to do, we have to simply provide here the notifier name, that is our task notifier. Right, so once we have done this, we are good to go. So simply save it from this side and go back to our main.dart file and create a run app to be our main child to be core class. Right, so once you have done this, you can simply hot restart everything. The hot restart will be telling the Flutter application that we have created a new provider, and also we have attached the provider to our multi-provider widget. Right, so here you can see we have attached our task notifier, and under task notifier we will be having bunch of things. Right, but before having those bunch of things, what we have to do, we have to simply inject our network classes. That is, if I simply go under task repo, here you can see we will be having this class to be extended with easy model wrapper, and this will be having bunch of things. Right, so what we have to do, we have to simply inject the following task repo under our task notifier. Now I'll show you how you can simply do it. So here I'll be simply creating a new variable known as task repository and having a value of task repo. And here I'll be creating a new constructor for it, and under this I'll simply say this thing will be requiring a task repository. Right, now once we have declared this thing here, we can simply utilize all the functions and methods that our task repository is giving to us. So here what I can do, I can simply first of all create all the API functions. Right, so here under our API functions, if I go under task repo, we have a bunch of functions. Right, so I can simply copy the entire function from this side for now, and I can paste it under our task notifier. Right, simply paste everything and also import our task DTO. Right, so here what I have to do, I can simply remove everything because we will be having a different criteria here. Right, so here let's make this function to be asynchronous, so the error will be gone. And under create task, first of all we will be having a try catch block. This try catch block will be helping us in catching all the exceptions and errors. Right, so here instead of catching the error, what we can do, we can simply use our easy exception. Right, so here we can use our easy exception class, and I can simply catch the exception through it. So here I'll simply say catch the exception, and once we have done this thing, we can use our awesome snack bar, and from this awesome snack bar we can use any of our style, and here we can have the following things here. right? So first of all, let's import, that is, let's provide here a context for a context, and here I'll be simply having a title to be exception.message, right? So let's have some silly background color for now. You will be getting all of the following data under the UI kit. So here let's have a blue color, right? So as soon as we receive any of the exception, we will be simply having here the following snack bar to be generated, right? So now under our try block, what we'll do, we will be simply having a map as a response from our task repo. So here I'll simply say the result will be under form of await for task repo dot create task, right? So here we can see we will be requiring this create task DTO. So let's do one thing. Let's go back here, and this thing will be requiring a create task DTO itself, right? And if I go here, it is imported from our this file. So here I'll simply say this thing will be requiring a create task DTO for a create task DTO, the same thing, and a value here, right? Okay, so we need to import the same DTO, right? So I can copy the file thing and paste it here and remove this thing from here, right? We have to simply take this import here, right? So you can see we have got our response here, and if I go under the create task, the following decoder will be giving us two variables. It will be giving us a boolean and a response itself, right? So here I can say let's say boolean status is equal to result under the parsing of status, and I can simply return the entire status, right? So I can simply say return the status for now, and I can say the type of my create task will be a boolean, right? So let's do one thing. If we receive any exception, I can simply say return false. Easy. And here also we need to delete this thing. Yeah, so this will be it. Our create task will be under form of boolean, right? So under the form of boolean, we are creating a task, and if we receive any exception, we are returning false, and if we create a new task, we are simply returning here status, that is a true or false, right? So we have created our first function here. Also we are handling the exception through this side. Now under my core, what we have to do, we have to simply inject the task repo. So I can simply say task repo, and fortunately my task repo also requires a task network, so I can simply import my task network. So here we will be requiring a base URL, right? So under the case of base URL, what you have to do, you have to simply provide here a base URL of your localhost, right? So here I can simply open braces and provide the base URL just like this, right? So once we have done this thing, we can now simply use our task notifier function of create task. So now let's try this method out first. So here what I'll do, I'll simply go under create task, and under create task, I will be creating a new instance of a notifier, right? So here we will be requiring a task notifier, right? So we shall be requiring an instance. Now you can do this thing with multiple types of methods. You can use a consumer, you can create a dependency here, or you can create a global variable, right? But for to keep this tutorial as a beginner level, what I'll do, I'll simply make this thing with a instance of the task notifier, right? So here what I'll do, I'll simply say task repo for a task, not task repo, my bad, task notifier, or instead of this, yeah, task notifier is equal to provider of context, and the context will be from task notifier, right? It will be requiring a context and the listen value of true or false, right? Now this is my technique. What I'll do, I'll declare this function, that is this variable as a function, and here I'll provide a dynamic value of render UI, right? So here I'll simply say this thing will be a function, right? And yeah, let's remove this thing, and we'll be requiring a listen to be true or false on the spot, right? So what I'll do, we can go under a button of create, and I can simply say task notifier render UI to be false and create a task, right? Now task create task function will be requiring a DTO, right? So what I'll do, I'll simply say create task DTO for a create task DTO is equal to create task DTO, right? This should be it. And under my create task DTO, first of all, we shall be requiring a title. So I can simply say a title if we have some title here. Yeah, underscore it has. So underscore task title text, and underscore task description dot text, and the schedule time here, and also the category IDs. For now, I'll be keeping the category ID to be null, not null but empty, and I can provide this thing here. Right, now we shall be requiring a different import here, so let's fix it out as well. But before that, we need to take the charge of our create that is task scheduler thing, right? So now what we have to do, we have to simply take the value of task scheduler from our task time picker, right? So here you can see we have got our task time, that is our Cupertino date picker. Now we have to take a usage of our Cupertino time picker and we have to simply add the changed value, right? So to do that, what I can do, I can go back and here under my task notifier, we'll be creating some functions, right? Or in-state functions. Right, so under insert functions, first of all, I can simply say a date time, right? So under my date time, it will be nullable. I can simply say, let's say selected task time, just like this, and I can simply declare one more, that is getter. So here, let's say get the following value, yeah, and here let's have selected date time, right? I can simply say set task time. It will be requiring a date time on the spot. So here let's say date time for a k value, something like this, right? So what I'll do here, I'll simply say the value of our selected date time is equal to k value, and after this I'll simply notify all the listeners. So once we have done this, what we can do, we can take the instance of our task notifier and we can paste it here, right? So let's import everything. So once we have imported everything, what I can do here on the time changed, what we can do, we can say task notifier to be either false of set date time, and the k value will be nothing but a date, right? So once we have done this thing, what we have to also do, we have to also set our initial time, right? So what I'll do, I'll simply say the initial time will be task notifier for a render value of true. We have to change the UI of selected date time, it is selected task time, is if this value will be null, it will be date time dot now. Easy thing, right? So once we have done this thing, let's hot restart everything. All right, we are having a bunch of errors here, so let's fix it. All right, so let's comment this thing out for now, right? And let's hot restart everything. Cool. So now what we have to do, we have to provide the value of task scheduler to be our task notified selected task time. So to do that, we can simply say task notifier dot false of selected task time. It will be not null. Alright, it will be a string. So I can simply say to ISO 65 string, that is to ISO 8601 string. Right. So this will be it. And also we have to figure out create task thing. Right. And to do that, what we can do, we can go back and I can import both of these packages, that is our things, paste it here. Right. And yeah, so we need to take care of this also. So yeah, let's remove that and paste it here. Right. So this will be it. We'll be creating a task from this side. Right. Now this thing will be giving us a boolean. Right. So here I'll simply say boolean status is equal to await this thing. Right. And to make it await, let's make our button async. And here I'll simply say if status, that is if the value of true, I can simply navigate ourselves to our home screen. So I can simply navigate ourselves to our home screen just like this, right? And here I'll be requiring our home route as well, right? So now let's start everything and let's try it out if everything works or not. But before that, let's also start our server, or it is already started, right? So now what we have to do, let's create task and also let's keep an eye over our debug console. Cool. So now let's say some demo task and some description and some date value create. All right, I guess the server is okay, the host is down. We need to enter here a local hosting, right? So let's go under our core file and here I'll simply say localhost, right? Also we have provided localhost. Let's also check out our port. So let's go to terminal and the server should be running over some port. Yeah, so I don't remember. So let's go to main.ts file. Yeah, the port was 3000. Yeah, so let's provide a port of 3000. Let's copy the following path and let's go to task repo or task, let's say notifier. Yeah, so this should be it. Let's start everything and let's try creating the task one more time. Create task, some demo value, some date, create. right? So you can see we are navigated to our home screen, and also we have successfully created our new task, right? So now once we have created a new task, let's try to fetch all the tasks. Right, now to fetch all the tasks, first of all we shall be requiring the model of our task, right? Because based on that model we will be creating the list of all the tasks, right? So I'll show you how you can create a task that is a model under our Flutter project. So first of all, what we have to do, what I'll do, first of all, let's go under task notifier, and I'll copy this method, right? So once I've copied this method, I can simply say fetch task, right? And here I won't be requiring a DTO or any sort of thing, and here I'll simply say fetch task, right? So the data won't be a result but dynamic for now. And what I can do, I can simply say print or debug print result dot toString, right? So here let's remove the following thing, and yeah, so here I'll be returning the null value, right? So we also need to fetch all the tasks. What I'll do, I'll simply go under my home view, right? Under our home view we have certain buttons. Yeah, so first of all, what I'll do, I'll go under my this thing and copy the following instantiation and paste it here, right, under the build method. So here let's import everything, and first of all let's check whether we are getting a response or not, right? So to check our response, what I'll do, I'll simply add this thing under any of the button, right? So instead of having create task route, I'll simply first of all check whether I am receiving the task or not, right? So once I have done this thing, after tapping over it, you can see I am receiving all of my tasks, right? So what we have to do now, we have to simply create a model through it, right? So to create model, normally I use Postman, right? So let me open my Postman for now, and I'll be simply copying the workspace data. Yeah, so let me show to you the Postman. Yeah, so what you have to do, you have to simply go here and send a get request, right? So once you receive all the data here, simply copy, and what I can do, I can simply go back, and here I'll be simply creating using the website of Dart to JSON having a null safety. Let's go here. Now I know there are a bunch of extensions that VS Code provides, but I don't rely on them normally because sometimes it provides a null value in the model. So I use this website, and it's completely dependent on you which website are you using, right? So here I'll be calling my model name to be task and convert it, right? So I can copy the entire Dart. All right, let's say bye bye to our Postman. And here under our models, you can see I have got my task model, right? So what I'll do, I'll simply remove the entire demo task model and paste it here. All right, so once you have done this thing, what I can do, I can set the data name to be task data, right, under our model. Now this will be our model that we'll be using, right? We will also requiring our task categories. So here I'll simply say the type of task category is a string, right? So here I'll simply say it will be task category description, right? Because in our previous video we also created the backend where we have deployed our task category description, etc. and etc. Right, so now what we have to do, for now I will not be using a task category because we haven't used it, but still let's try it out, right? Because there's no problem in that. What I'll do now, I'll simply go under task repo, and under my task repo, here you can see I've got a method that is a function of fetch task. Now what I'll do, instead of this, I'll be using the extension of nested model decoder, right? Through nested model decoder, what I can do, I can simply say task.from.json. I can provide the JSON format, and here I'll simply say task itself as our parent class, and the child class will be task data, and the response here will be under await state for task network.fetch task, right? So this should be it. Now once we have done this thing, what I can do, I can go under my task notifier, and here the type here that I know will be task data, right? And here it will be null, so I can make it nullable, right? And here the response that I know will be under a form of list, so here it will be a list of task data, right? And here I can simply say return result, right? So now what I can do, I can go back under my home view, and here I can simply say this thing will be giving me a list of task data, right, of data which will be under await state for this thing, right? It will be nullable, so let's make it nullable, and here I can simply say simply print me the data if we have any, right? So this will be it. So we are getting bunch of errors. So let's go back. And yeah, so we also need to make one change, that is go under our task model, and here the value, that is the name of our class, will be task, not task. Or we can make the following thing here. So let's make it task data. Easy, right? And here are some small bugs that we also need to figure out on the way. Task data, and finally task data. Easy. So once we have done this thing, let's hot start everything. Cool. So now let's tap our create task button. Alright, so I think this value is null. Now let me show you how we can handle the null value. So here I can simply say if this thing is equal to null, then simply show here a null, else the null value. Or what we can do, we can say this thing can be null, right? So this thing can be null here, and here what I'll do, I'll simply say, yeah, so let's tap over it, and now you can see we are getting two different values of task data and task data, right? So now what we have to do now, we have to simply render the following data over to our home screen, right? So let's do that, but before doing that, let's delete all the tasks, right? So to do it, we shall be using Postman, right? So let's go under Postman. We shall be deleting the value of 31, delete task 31. Yeah, and let's fetch all the tasks one more time, and the remaining one is 32. Alright, not 32 but 25. So let's delete it as well. Okay, so I guess there is a foreign key error. So to handle this error, what we have to do, we can go under our task entity, and yeah, under our task entity you can see we will be having a task category thing, and here I have to simply provide a value of on delete. I can say on delete, simply cascade the value, and also on update, cascade all the value. Easy. So now let's fix everything. Yeah, the terminal should be running one more time. Cool. So now let's try editing it. Alright, so now you can see we have affected to be 1. Now what this thing do, this thing will be simply saying that if my main task will be deleted, all the categories that are attached to my task should be deleted as well. Similarly, on update, all the task categories should be updated as well. So right now you can see if I fetch the task, I won't be having any task. Right, so now I'll simply creating a new task. So to create that, let's go to our home view, and I'll simply comment this thing out for now, and simply move to the new page. Right, so here I'll simply say, let's say demo task, and here I'll say demo task description. Alright, I'm bad at spelling, pardon me. Yeah, so let's have a send into update, create it. Right, so we have created a new task, that's why we are navigated to our home screen. Right now what we have to do, we have to simply render our home screen. So let's do that. So first of all, we can see here we have a list view builder. Now what I'll do, I'll be simply using a future builder to update all the tasks. Right, so here instead of list view, I can simply say I will be having a new body to be a future builder. Right, so under future builder, the future will be from task notifier false dot fetch task. The initial data will be null, we don't require initial data, and here I'll simply say return my list view builder. Right, but before returning it, what I'll do, I'll simply add some certain conditions. I'll simply say if snapshot has data and snapshot.data is not equal to null, at that point return me a list view builder. Else what you can do, I can simply say return a size box for now. Later we will be adding a progress indicator, but for now we are only checking it. Right, so hot restart everything. Yeah, so this thing is set up. Now what we have to do, we have to simply say the data will be under form of list of task data. So here I'll simply say list of task data for data should be equal to snapshot dot data as a list of task data. Easy. Now I can simply say the length will be data dot length, and also under my task block, here I'll be simply having a final variable of task data for a task data, and here what I'll do, I'll simply be creating a new constructor, and under this I'll say it will be a task data, the required variable. Right, so here it will be requiring a value of task data, where I'll simply say the value will be data under form of index. Right, from the index I will be simply parsing a task data. Right, so once this thing is done, we can go back, and here first of all let's remove this thing, we don't require it. Right, and here I will be simply adding a task title and description for now. Right, so let's add a title and the status. right? So here I'll simply say task status and the date and etc. But before that, task description, right? This should be it. So we are receiving bunch of errors. Yeah. So here we are also showing our archive task. So I'll comment this thing out, right? So once this thing is done, if I hot restart everything, I should be receiving our tasks, right? You can see we are receiving our demo task. Now what I can do, I can simply say demo task 2 and some description or something like this and some date, right? Some different date and created. Now you can see we are seeing our demo task 2. Now we have successfully created the way of creating task and fetching all the tasks. Right now I'll show you how you can render the following dates. Right, so to do that, we can go under our task block, and here you can see if I go under my perfect.yaml file, we have a dependency known as intl. This intl dependency will be helping us in parsing the dates. Right, so with the help of this intl package, that is package only, we can render all the dates. Right, so what I can do, let's go under to task block. Yeah, and here what I do, I'll simply say here date format dot, and after dot I'll say and a d, right? And after this what I'll do, I'll simply say format some date, and here I'll simply say date time dot parse the value from our database, right? So to do that, what I can do, I can simply say task data dot schedule that. Easy, simply hot restart everything. Now you can see we are seeing different dates, June 27 and June 29, right? We can also create a new value downside of created at, right? So I can simply copy the following text, and yeah, so here I'll simply say this thing, but it will be under braces, right? So here I'll simply say created at and some value for it, and this will be the value. Yeah, so here I'll simply say created task created at, right? You can see it will be it was created at 28 July and 28 July, right? That is 26 July, my bad, right? So this is the way through which you can parse all the dates with the help of intl package. Right, now we have done bunch of things today, right? Let's hover over it and let's add a key constructor or ignore it, doesn't matter. So in this way we have simply created a way to create task, right? I can simply say a new task and some date and created. Now you can see the task will be created, right? So in the next tutorial I'll show you how you can add some categories to the task, and also how you can navigate to the detail view of the task, right? So till then, if you have loved this tutorial, kindly hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.